Hi, I'm Michael Bean, and this is your free acting lesson for myfreeactingclass.com on Thursday, August the 13th. Today we have Michelle Creber, who is our resident voiceover expert, coming in for the third of her voiceover lessons. Michelle has been a voiceover artist since she was 5. She is one of, she has what, 7 albums, I think, out. She's one of the main voices on, or she voices one of the main characters on the My Little Pony animated TV series, which has taken her all over the world on conventions and things. Not this summer, I guess. And today she's here to talk to us about technical things, and we're going to do a little bit of practice. So something that I said to everybody in yesterday's class is that when we get to the practice section and Michelle pulls up a script in front of us for y'all to look at, feel free to leave your videos off because it's voiceover, and all we need is your fabulous voices. In fact, it'd be kind of fun to focus extra on that today, because that's the point of today. For a moment, we'll leave your videos on if you so desire, so that Michelle can see your face and be like, what is it that they're actually interested in? And with no further ado, Michelle Creber.
Hi, guys. Yes, please unmute, turn your video on. I know it's a weird environment.
Don't ask them to unmute.
Okay.
Because
when we get to the part where we're gonna do participation, I meant it's a weird format. You have to sort of click a button and decide when you're gonna speak up. But we're gonna do a little bit of teamwork later in our session today. So please don't be afraid to speak up. And I'm also gonna leave a little bit more room for questions today because I kind of went off with all my stuff last week. We didn't really get a chance to do so many back and forth. Today, we are going to be diving into the technical stuff, as Michael said. And the way we're going to do a bit of participation with you guys is I want to do the gorilla method, which is basically the very, very, very basic method of recording a voiceover audition by yourself at home, which is on your phone. Do the majority of you guys have iPhones? Yeah? Yes, or do your parents have an iPhone for the kids? Or an iPad or something? iPhones are just a couple of thumbs up. Yeah, there are some good ways to do it on Android. I am an iPhone person. That's the method I'm going to be teaching you guys today. But any app I think you could find on Android would be the very same basics. So that's how we're going to do a little bit of participation with you guys. But the first thing I want to do is just take you through this very simple document I created earlier today, just to give you an idea of the different levels you could have for advancement in your technical setup. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully you guys will be able to see it. Is that up on my video, or we're going to do that thing? Oh, yeah, thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So please, by any means, just interrupt me if you have a question at any step of the way. It's a very short document. I don't want to get too technical with you guys, but I can also link this document in the chat if you guys want to save it, or you can take a screenshot of it. Chances are most of you guys are going to be in this realm, the beginner. That's a really great setup. And then the rest of the stuff is more for your information probably at this stage. And then down here, again, we have gorilla. I love that term because it basically means like gung-ho, really like low resources, but just going for it. That's a very common term for like an independent film. They say like, hey, we're going to go guerrilla style. We have one guy with the camera and, one guy with the boom mic. In voice acting, guerrilla would basically just mean, you and your phone and a blanket over your head. So anybody, you're like, why gorilla? That's just a fun term I enjoy to use. So yeah, we're going to start with the beginner small investment stage here, which basically is one above the Gorilla iPhone self-tape setup. And I'll also pull up my Amazon tab here just to show you guys what you could look up and what to cross-reference. So first thing, obviously, we need a microphone. And there are many, many great options for pretty inexpensive microphones, almost all under $100, even some down to like the $40, $50 range. You know, it's a little bit right off the bat, but usually these microphones last several years. So it's a very easy, smart investment. My favorite USB mic is called the A2 2020 Audio Technica. But I just looked on Amazon before we started here, and for some reason, it's not on Amazon right now. But it looks like it would look sort of something like that. Here we go. This is the Audio Technica A2 2020 Plus, but for some reason, as you can see, there's no sort of inexpensive ways to get it on Amazon right now. I just thought I would put that out there because that's my first choice for a USB mic. Most of my colleagues have that as their traveling mic. So I'll just keep that there for you guys just for your reference. But as you can see, if we just look up USB microphone on Amazon, there are tons of great options here. You see most 60, 40, $70 range, various setups. Almost every single one of them should come with this little tripod here, so you can just set it down on your desk or wherever your setup is. And it's USB, so essentially it means you'd be plugging it in to your laptop. Now, again, Macs are great for musicians and performers and singers in the sense that they're just really easy to use, but PCs are also great for advanced technology. They have their, you know, positives and negatives. So GarageBand is free on Mac. That's a great way to record your voiceover auditions. It comes with the Mac. And Audacity is a free program you can get for PC. Now, because I'm a Mac person, I'm not sure, I mean, I'm sure it would depend on the PC, depend on the computer, whether or not those models come with a free audio program that would be good to record in. Therefore, I would recommend, just downloading this program here, Audacity, if you have a PC. I know a lot of people that use that program. I've never personally used it. I've used, GarageBand, or mostly Logic Pro, which is essentially the more advanced GarageBand, which I will talk to you guys about later. So if you have a PC, do a little bit of research on your own, on the model of your computer and stuff, and see what program would work best. But I'm going to guess the majority of you guys have some kind of Mac. So GarageBand is great, comes with your computer, lots and lots and lots of tutorials online of how to use it. All you're going to need is an audio track. Make sure you've chosen your microphone that is plugged into your USB, not your computer microphone, and press record and adjust the levels and all that kind of stuff. Just keep it really, really simple. There's not really any need to go too complicated with a voiceover audition, even at this level here, even at the expert level. It's not singing. It's not, you're not recording a song where you're going to be worrying about the reverb and the EQ and all these other fancy terms I could lay out for you guys right now that'd be completely irrelevant. So keeping it nice and simple, that's why I love GarageBand. And again, Audacity for PD, that's from what I've heard, the simple free program you can download if you have a different kind of computer. So the next thing you would need is a pair of over-the-ear headphones. So I know you guys, have the little like AirPods or quick, just like right in the ear hole there. But for voice acting, even at the cheapest level, the best thing to have is something that'll cover your entire ear circumference there. So there's, again, if you look on Amazon here, you say, okay, headphones, great. Okay, lots of options, some fancier ones, some not fancy, like a 35 here, a nice pair of Sony for only 25. It's not going to be the best quality. Obviously, you could go crazy, crazy, crazy expensive with any setup, especially when it's for recording. You can go, thousands of dollars. But this one right here, really basic investment. It's Sony. It'll be probably good quality. It'll last you a while, and you'll be able to hear yourself well. So lots of options there. Newer is also a great brand that has basic to fancy. And then in terms of your actual environment where you're going to be recording, for a beginner setup, find an enclosed space in your house that is, either a closet or a small office where the sound is compressed, ideally carpeted, anything that limits the reverberation off the walls. So I think we talked about this last week. You can hear me maybe over Zoom right now talking in this fairly large office with wooden walls. My sound, I can hear my sound right now bouncing back from the wall back to me. So that's not what we want. Let's see, if I were to, let's do a little experiment here. I'll walk with me with my computer. So there's this big room here. No, the bedroom's not gonna work. Okay, where could I go? Well, I could, actually, I'll go back here because I have this little area right here that is already compressed with a bunch of jackets. So maybe I could find some kind of stand to put right here, or I could sit. I mean, again, you kind of gotta be an adventurer in your own house and experiment to see where the best sound would be. So maybe, okay, if I have my computer set up here, I could sit down in this corner. I've got some nice sound compression naturally happening with the coats and the jackets. And then I could find a big blanket. I could hang it over my chair here and sit with my computer, has my voiceover script. I have my USB microphone right here plugged into my computer, and it may look silly. It's going to look silly when you have a beginner setup. Nothing wrong with it though. What matters is the sound. And hopefully you can find a place where you're comfortable so that it doesn't affect your read, and you're not trying to rush through it because you're like cramped and you're cramped underneath your desk or something. So basically, have a little bit of fun with it. Experiment where the sound is most compressed, least amount of reverberation. And I'm sure you all have a place in your house, whether you know it or not, that will work for it. I know some people, put blankets in their shower even, because that's an enclosed space. Usually it's got lots of reverb, but you hang blankets, it's perfect. So find a good space, ideally carpeted. There you go. Next level, and I'm going to kind of skip through these advanced and expert because, again, I think this is more for your information for today. So what's great actually are these mic stands with isolation shields. And I will show you that because this is a great next level investment. It basically prevents you from having to do that whole searching around your house exploration mission. Lots of great options here. I've used the majority of these brands actually over time. This one looks great here. Some of them are more expensive. Some of them, even the $65 one would probably be great for you. And essentially you set it on the tripod there on the desk, and it would create a mini studio for you, and it's portable too. So you'd have your USB mic attached to this isolation shield of a mic stand, your computer right beside you, plug in the microphone with USB to the computer, and there you go. That's a pretty good little mini studio. So that's why I'd be, in the medium investment stage. Pop filters, if you guys don't know what those are, I will quickly show you. Pop filter essentially filters out the p, p, and the harsh sounds that we make when we're either talking or singing. And again, like pretty inexpensive, 15, 9, 11, fairly reasonable. And then small sound compression panels would look something like this. You would basically just attach it to various parts of your wall. There you go. It's $36. You have one here. You're sitting here. Great. That's the advanced medium investment setup. Skipping ahead to expert, you would have basically an entire soundproof room with a professional grade recording platform such as Logic Pro. For those of you who don't know, Logic Pro is like the very advanced version of GarageBand. But the great thing about Logic Pro is that it can still be simple if you need it. I've used Logic Pro my entire recording career. It's what my dad's used. He's a producer. It's what my brother uses. He's a professional hip hop producer. So Logic Pro is just kind of in our family. I would recommend it. It's a great program. And if you're already familiar with GarageBand, it's just the next step up. Professional mic stand, so you get like the full length one instead of just a tripod that would sit on your desk. And that's kind of that's the thing that we have at Biz Studios, right, Michael, where you can actually, stand up and have the whole mic stand there. Music stand for your script. So if you have I'll tell you one thing, actually, the only problem with these isolation shields is that sometimes I'm not 100% sure where to put my script. The best way is to kind of go guerrilla, as I like to say, and tape it to the back of this so that when you're facing your microphone, you can see it there. But if you had this full setup, this expert large investment, you could have a mic stand, and you wouldn't have to have the isolation shield right in front of you. The whole room would be sound compressed anyways. So you could have a music stand and have your your script right there. Music stand, I automatically think of lyrics, but we use music stands in voice acting as well. And you can get, again, really fancy, get audio interface and preamp, and that's a bunch of research you guys would need to do on your own, depending on if you guys also do singing. There's so much technical stuff that you can dive into. So let's go, Michelle, to the main.
Are you all right if I jump in for 1 second?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I was, if you want, I was doing a little bit of multitasking while you were doing that, and so if everybody can hear my audio okay, this is a recording of me on, it's a recording of me on my phone. Right, so this is a recording on my phone. Okay, that's me on my phone in a room that's without even the blankets or anything around me. And then I've got, I have the USB mic that Michelle was pointing out, the Audio-Technica 2020, because Michelle recommended the audio gear that she needed for her class, so I just got it. So I'm trying to figure out how to. Uh-oh. I'm trying to play something back to you in GarageBand, and it's, there we go. Maybe, is that it? No, maybe. I'm confused. Okay. Dang it. I was like, I'm so boss here. I've got like different versions. But maybe if I, Michelle, you're the expert. How do I make this go? I'm not getting audio from it for some reason.
Well, it's probably just your export volume, and send where you might be previously set to headphones and it's just not coming out of your computer.
Oh, I see.
Speakers. So
Fiddlesticks.
I can't see your tabs, but if you were to go to preferences, I can't.
Is it worth doing this right now, or should I just let you go back to what you're doing?
Click audio.
I don't want to pull you far away from what we're doing.
Oh no, it says output to. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There we go.
Well, that's right. Yeah, so it's going in. It thought you had headphones plugged into your microphone.
So if you remember the audio quality for the phone, it's a recording with my computer on GarageBand with my Audio-Technica mic plugged in. Right, so you can hear extra traffic noise, and that's actually not on the stand at all. This is an audio recording with my Audio-Technica microphone and the pop filter and the background shield on GarageBand. Yeah. And then, if you can hear this at all, this is a recording with just the microphone on my laptop. Right, so if you've got, this is a recording on my phone. Okay, so of those,
your recording actually sounded pretty good there.
Yes,
because that's the thing. The USB mics are going to pick up more of the sound, right? Whereas when you're right there in front of your phone, it actually picked it up quite nicely, which goes to show how well the Gorilla system can work, right? Totally. If you have a good phone and you're pointing it right at the right distance, it can actually sound pretty darn decent. And definitely with those USB mics, like the more sound compression, the better, just because of how much it picks up. And you can hear sort of that ringing in the background, as opposed to when you put it right in front of the shield there. So yeah, that's a great comparison, especially to highlight, how it can be just really convenient and smart to just use your phone at whatever level you are. And you can sort of use that as a template to think, okay, what do I need to invest in? And you know, you got to use a little bit of self-critique and use your ears in the sense of, you know, listening back and thinking, is the quality of my audition going to impede my chances of getting this role? If it's not, maybe the phone setup's going to work for you for a couple of months while you're, you know, starting off with a couple of voiceover auditions here and there. But when you get to the point where, you know, you've got a voiceover audition every couple of days, you have to do some home sessions, you're also wanting to try out some singing, you're wanting to improve your singing skills because of voice acting, that's when you're like, okay, I really got to bump up my system here. But certainly nothing wrong with the phone at that start off level for sure. So let's talk about that then. Michael used his iPhone there. Michael, did you use voice memos or voice record pro?
I just used voice memos.
Voice memos. Okay, very cool. So voice memos is great. You know, the program on your phone is not going to change the quality most of the time that's going into your phone. However, the app that I recommend to my clients and that I use myself is called Voice Record 7 Pro. It's free, but the reason I use it is because you can do a lot more with it than voice memos. So I'll show it on my iPhone here. Where would it be? Music? Oh, I see. Okay, so here we go, Voice Record Pro, and I can change a bunch of settings on it. I can change, I've always got it set to high quality here. And then once I've recorded my voice memo here, blah, 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 test, 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 I would press stop, and it'll process, and then it'll take me to all the options that it wants, that it can do for me for this MP3. And I can edit it, I can trim it, I can add more recording to it, I can convert it to different formats, I can send it right from there, I can add effects if I needed to. It's just, it's very simple to use, just like voice memos. But if you need to edit on your phone, for example, it's a lot more flexible in that way. It can give you a lot more options. The only thing I will say actually about Voice Record Pro is make sure that you either have it set to MP3 from the beginning. I almost always have it set to WAV and then I convert it to MP3 though. Basically just make sure that your final audition is always in the format of MP3, because I've never once seen an audition in 5 years that doesn't want just the MP3 format, nothing else. They don't want waves, they don't want anything else. They have lots of submissions and they want to keep it as small and convenient as possible. So just watch out with that app. If you do have an audio here that wasn't recorded in MP3, just scroll down and then click the convert to MP3 button. Okay, convert, and then it will create an identical file here that I just recorded in the MP3 format, and then send that one, label that one and send that one. But either way, Voice Record Pro 7 is my preferred app. And if you get confused and you get lost, it's a, you know, pretty popular app. So I'm sure there's lots of tutorials online to help you out, but watch out for the MP3. And that goes for computers too. That goes for GarageBand, export MP3. Blankets hang up around you. Yeah, we talked about that.
Michelle, do you want to share your screen so we can see your list again?
Yes, of course. I didn't realize it wasn't still sharing. Okay. So there we go. Voice Record 7 Pro, blankets to hang up around you. Sometimes when I'm in a hotel room, wherever, obviously not these days. It's the first summer I haven't traveled in 12 years. It's very weird. But I sometimes, it's not the most comfortable thing. It's pretty, once again, gorilla, but I actually just hide myself in a mountain of blankets or duvets in the hotel room, and it's perfect. You know, I'm in this little hut and I just try not to rustle my elbows or my shoulders, and that's my travel studio. So use the elements around you, get creative. The most important thing, the main number one thing, is how the audio sounds. So listen back to a test take before you put any effort into your submission, because you could spend half an hour on audition, listen back finally and realize, oh, it's distorting the entire time, meaning it was too loud the entire time. It's going to sound like, feedback on speakers at, the part of the movie where somebody goes up to the mic. Tests, listen back, get good at, critiquing your setup and making sure that it is very clear, for one thing, no outside noise, as little reverb as possible. We talked about that, as little sound bouncing off the walls as possible, that you are really direct with your placement of your microphone. If you're recording on your phone, I would say, whatever distance feels natural. I call it the Siri distance, right? You say like, hey Siri, and it's, about, I would say like 4 or 5, it depends on how loud the audition's going to be, but 4 or 5 inches is usually pretty appropriate. If you have a yell in your script, obviously you're going to want to pull it back. A little bit of mic control there. That goes for microphone standing up too. A little bit of back and forth with the volume of the lines. That's very key.
I've heard you say,
and then
I've heard you say before, and I know that you say this, you might have said this in the previous lesson, to just keep like a fist distance between you and your microphone.
Great way of remembering it. Yes, fist distance away is a perfect measurement. The fist distance or the Siri distance. And then, we talked about the MP3s, so limit the reverb, watch your distortion and pops. And make sure it's clean, make sure it is direct. So don't, especially, it's tempting, especially when you have a guerrilla system and your script is over here, your mic is over here, to accidentally say a couple lines where you're not pointed at your microphone, but keep a very direct line of fire with your words. And even those yells, you don't want to go off the microphone when you have a louder line. You just want to keep the line, keep the direction, and just pull back a little bit. So that is pretty much my summary. Do you guys have any questions that we can go over? I'm happy to stay a couple minutes over.
Elaine has a question in the chat window here. Doesn't the blanket on your back affect the quality of your voice?
Doesn't the blanket on your back affect the quality of your voice? The blanket, like in the sense of when I'm at, a hotel somewhere and the blanket on the back. Well, that's the, that's the hard part with that setup sometimes. I have to sort of stay very, very sterile, right, with my movements, because any rustling is going to create extra sound. But no, I mean, any compression from any direction is good. An ISO booth classically is a room that's fully paneled with compression panels, and it doesn't matter which direction. So, I mean,
a walk-in closet or any kind of closet.
Closet
with blankets draped over the sides. Even in the most like sort of jury-rigged of way. I've seen be very, very effective.
Totally. Yep. Yeah. Good question though. I mean, it does feel odd sometimes when you think about it. It's like, oh, is it going to affect? But that's why you got to listen back, right? Oh, sorry, Deborah, you had a question.
Yeah, I was going to say, luckily I have a walk-in closet with a lot of clothes, so that's a good start. But what about you said on the carpets on the floor? Like, does it have to be? Is it best to have it completely carpeted, or?
It doesn't affect it as much, especially if your microphone's higher up, like you have it, on a shelf, or you're standing up with the mic stand, or you're standing up holding your mic. You're going to be pretty far, like your sound is kind of in this realm, horizontal, if you're standing upright. So I wouldn't be too worried if you have, tiled or hardwood or, concrete floor, whatever. If it's a pretty dampened room with the clothes and a blanket here or there, if you do notice a bit of extra ringing, certainly you could lay a blanket down on the floor and stand on it, but it's nothing to, install carpet over or buy a big carpet for or anything like that. I wouldn't think.
Caden, do you want to jump in with your question before we wrap up?
There's also another one you can use.
Sorry, Caden, what did you say?
So Caden, that's not a question. Michelle's the expert, and we're getting her advice. So thank you so much for your offer, but I think I'm going to cut you off there. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to do any practicing, today, Michelle. But for next time, if what would be fantastic, and I've seen you do this in class, is to pull up those like one line of dialogue, and you can do it you can screen share it, and so that you can like scribble in sort of, here's my thoughts and here's like what I would do with this, but then just start picking people and just go like, hey, Olivia, will you try this one line of dialogue? And then after Olivia's done it, say like, hey, Candy, will you try this one line of dialogue? And like, when people don't want to, they'll say no. But it's Vancouver, and like, folks are a little bit shy, except for Caden. Caden's not shy. He's our good example of not shyness. And then you can have 6 or 8 people try the same line. One of the things I've really learned in these lessons is that like today, we decided to on 2 things to go over. We got through one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
well, and I thought your great example of showing them your setup there was a pretty good tactical example. And I know next week we were planning on participation for pretty much the entire thing. So I thought maybe we just leave that, because there's so much to talk about and it just goes by so fast.
Well, and if you want, one of the things that I was talking to folks about yesterday is that for folks who want a little bit more practice, if they want to like put in that time before, that we could review it. So if you want to send me a script that's just a couple of lines, then I'll share it with people on Monday. And if we get a few of them recorded by Wednesday or Thursday, when you do your lesson, then you can play those back, and talk about them and sort of analyze the setup, and in addition to working the scenes.
Love it. Let's do it.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Say thanks, Michelle.
Cheers, guys. Thank you again.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks
man, thanks for making the time for us, Michelle. It's so great.
Thank you, Michelle Creber.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye now.